In ages long forgotten, light fought darkness for control of the world. Dark Dragon led the evil hordes of darkness. The ancients fought back with powers of light. Dark Dragon was defeated and cast into another dimension. The Lord of Darkness vowed to return in 1,000 years. Time passed, and Dark Dragon was forgotten by all. 10 centuries of peace ruled the land of Rune. Until the kingdom of Runefaust brought war and fear to Rune. Hordes of evil creatures ravaged every land. Here and there, strongholds of good still held out, awaiting a hero who could wield the powers of light. Hello everybody, my name is Magnus, and this is Shining Force, the Legacy of Great Intention. Originally a Sega Genesis game from 1993. Oh, there we go. We're going to be doing a nice, good old casual Let's Play of Shining Force 1. I will be doing the challenge of replacing every single, or replacing my characters with new characters each time. So when I get another one, my oldest character will be cycled out. Of course, I have to have Max the entire time, and that means that I'll actually be able to use every single character in the game so everybody can kind of see how they play. Every character is viable in this game, just some of them are a lot tougher to use than others. Anyways, let's start with this cute girl. Wow, Dark Dragon, Agents. Let's see now, what else does this old book say? Only 1,000 years have passed since they vanquished Dark Dragon, and this book says Dark Dragon threatened to return right about now. I bet anything that Dark Dragon is behind the evil hordes of Runefaust. I need to tell someone about this, but who would listen to a kid like me? I think Dark Dragon's coming back. Will you help us? Come on, it'll be an adventure. Now I already have a couple of files on here, but I will be starting up a new one. Pick an adventure, and we'll do 3. And what shall we call himself? I think, well, we already have one that's Magnus in there. Now, the normal character in here is Max. Your name actually does matter, because Max's stats change based on the name that you give him. I forget what it is. I think some parts of it are random, and other parts, I think if you type in Sega, you get like 1 extra MP. Or HP, one of the two. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it actually does matter. His stats slightly vary, and same thing with the starting stats of some of your other characters. You may end up with 1 extra attack on somebody, which is interesting. It's a little bit of a difference, but it doesn't matter too much. We're just going to stick with Max. It's a lot easier. It won't get it confused with anybody, unlike my Shining Force 2 Let's Play. And if you are wondering, yes, I will be continuing on with that. That one's going to be specifically a live stream. This one is going to be specifically all recordings. Nice to meet you, Max. I'm Simone. I almost messed up that name. Come back often and tell me everything. We're going to be seeing her a lot, and I'll be skipping that entrance a lot whenever I'm starting to record again. You need to get going. Evil spreads farther across Rune with every passing day. Not that anybody in this town knows. Alright, so if you don't know, this game is made into 8 different chapters, and you've got a few battles each chapter, so it'll be interesting. It's fairly short in comparison to other games, so it shouldn't be too long to play. Max, Max, come on, kid, wake up. I didn't hit you that hard. Keep your guard up, kid. Those beasts of Runefoss will tear you to pieces. Okay, that's enough for today. You'd better take it easy for a while. Thank you, random old man. So you're not even given a description of who you are or where you come from or anything. There's a little bit of background with other games and with the GBA version, yeah, the Game Boy Advance version of, or the remake of this game, where they add in extra story and things that make sense. There's a couple translation errors in this, but it's fun to always play Shining Force 1. I really like this game. I like Shining Force 2 a little bit better, but I've grown to like Shining Force 1. You unfortunately miss out on some creature comforts, like being able to just press C to get to something. Every bookcase, by the way, has different books in there. Some of them are very interesting. Ah, there's our crappy healer. Well, Max, had enough swordplay for today. I don't know how you keep at it hour after hour. I'm tired after 15 minutes. Yeah. So then you're trapped. You have to kind of go back and talk to him again. I don't know why. You have the makings of a great fighter, Max. You'll be tested soon enough. Lord Varios, the king has sent for you. You must come at once. Of course. Lead the way, guardsman. I fear the worst, Max. Prepare yourself for true battle immediately. Obviously, if the person that's training you is needed, it's apparently very important. And he's training you not on the training grounds. You're right outside the chapel. Did you see Lord Various' face? He went pale. Something very big is happening. Let's split up and see if we can't find out what's going on. I'll see you later. And I have no idea where he goes. Because it's obviously not where anything is actually happening. There you go. There's a priest. You can go through and talk to different people. Hey, what's a youngster like you doing moping about? Get out and fight evil! Because apparently that's what young people do. And I don't know how young these characters are supposed to be. I'm sick of feeling helpless. I'm going to ask Varios to train me to be a fighter. I'm sure, lady. Sure. You can't even get... The knights can't even get him to train. We'll see that later on. There's a couple of things that are around here. Mostly just talking to people. Running people over with carts. Hey, watch it, pal. How would you like it if I tried to run you over with a cart? Uh-oh. But not much else to do in this. There is something you can do. There's a way to actually solo with Max without getting your first set of characters, and you basically have to keep pushing this guy over. So you can actually guide them, because they kind of travel randomly, at least the regular townsfolk travel randomly. You kind of push this guy all the way down in between, like right there, to where one of them can't get there. Can't get to their spot, and then you kind of walk through, and you can get to the first battle. But we're not doing that. We're going to be trying out everybody. I'll also be doing an analysis on every character, and I'll start off when we finally get our characters and get to a battle. Talk to some of these knights. The Gardenian Knights have no need of you, Max. They're mean. Whew, training wears me out. We have trained until our arms are ready to fall off. When will we see battle? Beat it, Max. This training field's too rough for the likes of you. Don't let them get to you, Max. Some knights are always complaining. Yeah, I don't know exactly they're doing training over here, but they're doing something. That is the story, Varios. Then, Your Majesty, we have no choice but to send Max, a young fighter. Oh, Max, good. I was going to look for you. First, listen to the king. For centuries, our people have watched the Gate of the Ancients as its guardians. Beyond that gate lies, we know not what, not even if it is of light or of darkness. But the Ancients knew, and they sealed it beyond the gate and set us as guards. Now we find that we may have failed in our mission, our reason for existence. Signs have been seen that the forces of Runefoss are at the gate of the Ancients. Whatever evil they are planning, we must stop them at all costs and at once. But we must not panic the people, a small group of young but skilled warriors. And here's Nova, he's your advisor. You get a fish person. I really don't know what to call them. There's a specific race that's actually in the lore. Can't remember it. Yes, he could do it. He could leave town unnoticed and have a chance to succeed, perhaps. Yes, Nova, I agree. Max, will you take the task? Nah, not gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Very well. Now, return to town and gather your troops. Come back when you're ready. The unfortunate part with the Shining Force 1 game, I think, is that they don't really give you any hints of what to do. They kind of just have you figure it out on your own. There's really nothing to tell you what to do. So you run into things of, okay, where do I gather my troops? And you talk to everybody around the castle, and, well, nobody wants to do anything with you. Then you finally walk out, and this is what happens. What voice am I going to go for low here? Or not low. Alright. So this is Luke, also known as Lug, in any of the other, or in, is it Shining Force CD? Yeah, I think it was Shining Force CD, kind of the in-between of 1 and 2. He's actually named Lug, and that's what the translation was supposed to be, but he's Luke. Wait, Max, Nova sent us. We're going with you. I am Luke, the warrior. Ken the Knight, at your service, Max. I'll follow wherever you lead. I'm Teo. I'm only an apprentice mage, but I'll do my best. I'm Hans, an elven archer. I'm coming, but don't put me in the front lines, okay? Don't worry, we won't. Or we will let you die. I don't know. Meet us at headquarters, back in the castle. Hey, Max. Don't try to sneak out of town without me. And there's Lo, our crappy healer. Like I said, I'll analyze the characters and tell you why I say that later on. Now that you have your comrades, return to the king and hear his final commands. I'll follow your progress and offer advice as you face the foul hordes of Runthos. Well, that's settled. See you at headquarters. And then we're back to normal. I don't know why he tells you to gather the troops when he gathers the troops for you. Makes no sense. But there's Shining Force 1. You have your troops, but you need supplies. Take this to purchase what you need. 100 coins! A cart will take you to the gate of the ancients. Go now, carry out your task. And then I'm just going to pay a visit over here. Typically, if they have portraits, they're important characters. Greetings, Max. I'm May, Varios' daughter. The other knights feel that father has wasted his time on you. We shall see. That should be coming in later. And we don't need to visit those guys in headquarters quite yet. Go visit another person. Go to the bar. Hey there, youngster. My name is Gort. Care to hear my story? Thanks. No one talks to me anymore. All too busy. Want to hear a secret? Never trust anyone outside the city. Murderers and thieves, all of them. I ought to know. I was a great warrior. Or I used to be a great warrior. Excuse me. Been all over the world. Why, I have half a mind to go out again. Would if I got a good offer. Now, you can't hire him like that. You'll just have to hire him later on. Don't mind the boss. He gets like that sometimes. Perhaps I can help you out. Yeah, the boss isn't going to sell you anything right now. But we can go through and get a bunch of medical herbs. Medical herbs heal 10. They're pretty much very cheap healing items that you want to have on pretty much everybody, but especially have on your healers, because they actually gain experience from using them. Or at least more than one. I think everybody else gets one or something like that. And then make sure everybody else has one, just in case they need some emergency healing. But this is probably one of the first full games I actually played. I don't know, pretty much all the way through. I don't remember when I exactly finished it, but I had a tendency when I was younger to not finish any games. So it was actually an accomplishment to finish any of them for me. But Shining Force was one of the ones that I was able to finish up. I really liked it. It's what's gotten me into playing all these tactics-based games, all of your Japanese, strategic RPGs, whatever you want to call them. Oh, missed that first line. Sorry. We can take him, Max. Move it, vermin. Find the key to this blasted door. Come on, we're almost in. Where is that blasted key? What? Blast it. He loves saying blast. Those fools from Gardenia are here. Earthquake! Attack, goblins and dwarves. Strike a blow for the honor of Runefaust. And there's your first boss. Alright, now that we're going to go through an analysis, of every character. So the stats that I'm getting all of my analysis from is from, however you pronounce it, Ski Soccer's game facts for his character guide. He does a great breakdown of the average stats, what you can kind of make people to be, whether you promote them at level 20, 10, what you'll typically get them to, and then rates them overall based on their stats and everything else. So he does a run of, or he calculated everything by leveling up every character, leveling them up for the same level 10 times to see how their growths were on average. So you can kind of get better numbers for them, or see if you end up being on par with what the average is, being less or better. Because in Shining Force, unlike a game like Fire Emblem, or even Shining Force 2, your growths in this game are very random. You kind of know when you're supposed to get some gains. A lot of it's scripted to say, hey, this guy's going to gain a lot of attack at these set of levels and everything. You just don't know how much. Or there's no like percentage that they're supposed to get. And growths really matter in this game. Sorry, just drinking some water before I get to it. But I use Ski Soccer's analysis. I will tell you when my experiences have differed and what my opinions are that differ from Ski Soccer's analysis. And everybody's runs are different. Some people have better characters, some people have worse. It really depends on your experience. And again, because this is so random, your experience does matter in this. So not most people are not going to have the same run. Anyways, we're going to start off with our hero, the one mandatory character that you have. If I can click this stuff right. Alright. So you have Max. Alright. So Max is a swordsman. He promotes over into a hero. He has one spell called Egress, and that's the only spell that he gets, the only thing that you can use MP on. Everything, his MP is otherwise useless. Again, he's your mandatory character, so he'll be in every single map, and he's your one loss condition. If you lose Max, you lose that battle. You'll lose half of your gold, and you'll get sent back to the nearest priest, or the last one you went to, or whatever the game decides to send you at. Sometimes they don't send you to the priest that they should. But you have him. Overall, starts off with a good amount of attack. He's not very tanky with his defense. He's got a decent amount of HP though, and he starts off with a bonus in his move. His movement is very good for a walking character. Again, he only takes the regular penalty for terrain. We'll get to that in a bit, but typically it's half of your movement for all of your walkers, and then anybody that's mounted, I think it's like a quarter of their movement going through. But he has a very good move through terrain and out in the open, and before promotion, he is a lot faster than anybody else besides your centaurs and your birdmen later on. So his movement's good. His attack is pretty high. As a rating out of here, I'm going to give ratings out of 5. Max is a 4 out of 5 character. What you'll end up seeing is that he will be a powerhouse for some parts of the beginning, a short period in the middle, and then a huge powerhouse at the end. He'll always be able to do damage, but he does struggle some in the mid-game and the early game. Mostly because that's around the promotion time. You'll sometimes be hoping to get a new weapon, and he doesn't really get a new weapon for a while. He starts off with a more advanced weapon than anybody else, and then he kind of holds it for a while in his attack. All weapons users you're going to see is that their attack growth does not matter a huge amount. What it is their weapon actually gives them their most attack. So their attack growth could be bad, and they can end up being fairly good because their weapons are good. Max, he starts off with a good weapon, that's why his attack is good. But he'll always be somebody useful. You just have to be careful with him in the front lines. He does have the weakness of he ends the map. If he dies, everybody retreats. You can't win. Again, 4 out of 5. He's a good character. You definitely want to use him. Be careful of not using him, because then he just becomes a liability. So you do want to train him up, and he's a good unit, especially with the items that he gets to use later on, with all of the Sword of Light, Sword of Darkness, maybe, depending on who you have equipped with that one, and his the White Ring you can bring onto him, and he can end up getting some healing. He's one of the few characters that can get that and kind of spread a little bit more on that. Plus, I didn't mention it, his defense is low now, but from my own experience, and Skizaker doesn't show this later on, or it doesn't show this too much, but my experience, Max gets very tanky. His defense shoots up right after promotion, which makes him very good at going through and taking some of the enemies until they get to magical attacks. I'll get to magic in a bit, but until they get to magical attacks. But then again, his HP is going to be pretty good anyway. So he's a good character to have all around. I'm not disappointed that I have to bring him. Alrighty. I'm just going to keep that down. So next up, you've got Ken. Here we go. Alright, so Ken. He's your first centaur. Ooh. Starting off with +1 HP. Okay. Like I said, sometimes you can get some bonuses for characters. So you've got Ken. He's he's your first centaur. Centaurs move very far, but get impeded by terrain a ton. Again, they get down to the quarter movement for that. But they can reach very far distances in any place that does not impede their movement. They also can have 2 different types of weapons. You've got your lances, which are up close, and then you have your spears, which are a 1 to 2 space, meaning that they can attack from a distance and from up close when you have it equipped. They actually end up getting weapons more often than any other person, so you get upgrades with them a lot. Sometimes their thrown weapons are as powerful or more powerful than their up-close weapons. So you can sell their up-close weapons, and later on you get a more powerful up-close one. But in general, the up-close ones are more powerful. But for Ken himself, his attack is fairly decent. He's always going to be able to dish out some damage. Sometimes when he's just stuck with a weapon like this spear and doesn't get anything to kind of upgrade from it, he'll be lagging behind. But again, he moves far, and he'll still be able to do some amount of damage, so he's fairly useful at that. Defense, he's okay right now. His defense doesn't really go up in the beginning. In fact, usually it's not until after promotion that his defense goes up. But what he lacks in defense, he makes up for in HP. And this is something I'll definitely want to go into for Ken. He is an HP tank, meaning that he has a ton of HP in his game. In his first level, you'll see him go up at least 3 or 4 points of HP. So again, gotta have some water. But you'll see him grow in his HP a ton in the beginning. He'll go down a little bit in promotion, and then go up a bit after promotion, and then actually his defense, it'll flip-flop to where his defense goes up a lot, and his HP stays around the same when he already has a decent amount. And something I didn't discuss with Max, the skill, or the ability Agility. There we go. Agility, it determines how quickly you go in the turn order. You don't have a designated turn order that you can see, but you do have a turn order. Everybody cycles through a turn, and then they randomize. They give random numbers to everybody, and then they add onto their agility. I think that's how it goes. And pretty much, the higher agility, the better chance they have at going first in their turn orders. And then, if they have the lowest agility, they have a better chance of being last in the turn orders. But the turn orders are still random, so some people can end up having double turns because they just so happened they had to be last in the first one, and then the second turn they end up being first. I don't really care about agility. It doesn't matter too much to me. Some characters are just going to go first right off the bat almost all the time. That's sometimes useful. But I don't really care for that, so I don't talk about it much. But overall for Ken, he's a 3 out of 5. Centaurs, I think I won't really rate them lower than that. But it's very hard to kind of rate them higher. There are a ton of Centaurs that you get, and some of them I do rate a bit higher than the other ones based on their stats. But Ken is always useful. You have him the entire way. You can level him up the entire way. And he generally is nice and survivable and useful the entire time that you're using him. So you can always have him around. It's never bad. Alrighty. Now, let's see here. Next up. Nope, not them. We will go with Low. There we go. Nope. Wow, I'm doing great for this recording. Okay, next up we have Low. So Low, he is your first healer. What can I say about him? So he starts off with Heal. That is a 1-space, heals, I think, up to 10 or 11, 12 points of damage. I forget what the numbers are, but it's in that grouping. I usually think of it as always a 10. Same thing with the medical herbs. You get flat 10 experience for any amount of damage that you heal, or a little bit more if you heal more, or if you heal a larger amount. So if you're healing 1, you're going to get your 10 experience. But if you heal, 9 or 10, you'll end up getting more. This is where we start going into MP more. He ends up having a larger pool of MP, actually pretty decent. That's a good thing about him. And he is probably one of the more survivable healers that you have. Not the most, and I'll get to him soon. But he ends up having a decent amount of HP, an okay amount of defense, a decent amount of attack for a healer, which is important in some cases. So, he's alright in that. Now, why do I say he's a crappy healer? Well, his spells are terrible. His spells are very, very bad. Heal is actually not the best healing. You have another one called Aura, which will heal in an area. He doesn't get that, which is very unfortunate because it is a very powerful spell. He will also learn Detox, which cures poison. You don't get poison a lot, and hardly is it that major of an issue. And later on, it can heal other status effects that are going on, but rarely do they either affect you or end up affecting you for that long. So it's a major downfall. He has something like that. He can cast Slow, which does decrease the agility of the enemy. Not very useful. I think it may also lower defense. I can't remember if it does. I'll have to get back to you on that. But it's still not that good, and he learns it fairly late. The same thing with Quick. It ends up increasing agility. And I think it may be increasing defense too. But again, most of the time it's actually not doing too much. And that's way later on too. He generally just does not get it. He just doesn't learn that good of spell. So he ends up being crappy healer in comparison to the other ones that we'll be getting. I don't like using Low. We'll just use him until we don't need him anymore. So technically, he's actually the 5th character that we get, so I'm not replacing him for a bit. So we're gonna have Low for a while here, to my dismay. Now you've got Teo, your first mage. So Teo, let's see, not very survivable. I don't think any of your mages. Oh, I didn't even rate Low. Low is a 2 out of 5 character for me. Healers have some use. He is not that useful for being a healer, but he does have some use. Again, almost all characters are useful in this. You can use them. None of them are going to just be sucky the entire time. Some of them just take a lot of work. For Teo, again, she starts off with a little bit low of MP, but she ends up getting that, getting a huge amount of that in agility. Her attack, defense, and HP are going to stay low, which makes her survivability a lot less than other people, but it's not terrible. Unfortunately, mages only move 5, and they'll stick with that even after promotion, which makes them slow, but they'll have longer range spells, or at least some of them. Teo's going to have, the first spells all have a 1-2 range. Pretty sure, yeah, pretty sure. And she is your fire mage. She specializes in that and doesn't really get anything else. I think she might get a freeze too, but I think I have to go back on that. But she learns Blaze. The good thing about Blaze here is that you learn it very quickly. So she'll get to Blaze 4, the biggest one, pretty quick. I forget what level it is, but I think she has it. If I got her up to level 20 before promotion, I think that's when she has it. But she'll gain MP and agility and be able to use all of that a ton. And Blazes are cheap. Cheap damage. Now, magical spells, redundant. But spells themselves, if they do damage, they do a set, or nothing really does a set amount of damage, but pretty much a set amount of damage. There is, besides the bosses in the game, there is no resistance to these spells. Well, bosses and then certain creatures. But most of the time those creatures are weak to another spell. It's mostly like a red creature is resistant to Blaze, but weak to freeze. But it's very reliable, always hits, and does generally a specific amount of damage, and can still crit. Which is very useful. You have to, you go through and conserve your MP. Teo doesn't generally have to do that too much. Only in the beginning does she have to worry about that. Later on, she'll be throwing out Blaze 4s like it's no tomorrow to every single creature that she goes to. For her, I rate her as a 3 out of 5. She's a useful mage, but not the best mages of the mages out there. I think the other two are better than Teo, and that's not including Domingo. He's special. But she's useful. She gains a lot of MP, and you don't really have to worry about it. But Blaze itself is a fairly weak spell when you don't have the other ones, like a Bolt. You kind of miss out in a lot of area effect damage. Blaze doesn't really hit that many enemies. At most, it'll hit 5 when you have the later ones that are going through. So, still good. I like using Teo. Generally, in my run-throughs, I use her the entire time. I still like her. I just know that she's not the best. Alrighty. Then you have one of your 2 warriors out here. You have Luke. Now, Luke is... let's see here. Fairly good. He's got decent attack, got great defense. He moves 6. Again, your regular foot guys will end up moving 6 the entire time. He has low HP for now, and I think that's a general thing that you'll find with the warriors between Luke and Gort. You'll find that they end up having a low amount of HP, but otherwise they're not too bad. Again, his attack goes up a decent amount. His defense goes up crazy. Agility is going to be bad, so he's going to be going last a lot. But again, that's not too much of an issue if you can plan things correctly. His low HP does affect you, though, when it comes to magic users, so you have to be careful. The warrior class can use swords and axes, so you can get the better out of whatever's available for you, which is very good. Plus, they can, that means that, well, they're the only ones with access to axes, which the later ones that you get can use spells from them. There are some swords that do that as well, but a lot of the axes end up doing that. Luke, I like him. I think that between him and Gort, they're about the same. I rate them as a 4-star character. And the reason for this is that they're always very survivable, very useful. They deal a ton of damage. most of the time. I think in the beginning, they're not shown that well because you're comparing them to your main character who has a much better sword. But if you see, he has a 14 attack, and so does Max, and Max has a better weapon. And a 7 defense is much better than a 4 defense, and it's just going to get even better. So he's going to end up becoming very useful and very tanky. I like him. I like my warriors. They're a 4 out of 5. The only thing that could probably make them better is having a greater movement stat. If they had more movement or specific terrain bonuses, moving through the terrain, they'd be better. Alright, and now we go to probably one of the more discussed things for the game is the usefulness of archers. So your first archer, and which ones are better? The first archer that you have is Hans. First look, he's actually pretty good. Got a decent amount of HP. His defense is a little low, but it's better than your leaders right now. And his attack is the same. His movement's lower, but he does have a 2-range weapon, so he is able to shoot over the lines. With archers, with more advanced weapons, they're actually going to be having a 2 to 3 range, meaning they can hit even further out, which makes up for their movement, and they can move less hindered. I don't remember what the statistics are with them, but they can move a lot further in the woods than other characters, which is very good for them. The problem with Hans, his attack sucks. You do not see that here, but you will see in the first 5 levels, I don't think anybody has ever seen him gain 1 single attack point. Ever. I've tried. I've done a couple of playthroughs trying to test out Ski Soccer's stats, and I was getting roughly about the same numbers, some just a little bit different from others from weird level ups. But Hans, never, ever, I think I was testing it 20, 30 times per level, never got an attack. So he will actually quickly fall behind everybody else and become weak. So archers have a hard time actually being strong in here. That is up until the end. With the later weapons that you get, generally everybody gets some weapons that either increase their attack by like 25 or 22 or maybe up to 30. No, their weapons give them a plus 35 for their attack at the end. So, and it's the 2-3 range. With that type of weapon, you can have almost any attack and do damage to the enemy. It doesn't matter. You can become a beast with the Buster Shot. And just for that reason, I actually rate Hans as a 3 out of 5. I find archers very useful, and I like using them, but I can understand they're fragile. You're going to see that his defense does not go up much. His HP will be okay, but it will not be great. And that's something that you're going to have to keep in mind every single time that you're using him. That is not going to be that good. Now, later on, we'll come up to the debate of who's the best archer, but it doesn't really matter at this point in time. And he's still pretty decent. I like using some of these guys that other people say are less optimal. And it's hard for me to say when somebody's actually going to be less than a 3, than an average. Everybody has their weaknesses, but they're pretty usable. But this is one that I know people are going to argue with me on, is how useful the archers are. And I think they're very useful, especially for new characters. Having somebody that can go through and weaken from a distance, and you'll see in some of these battles, you kind of want to be able to shoot over 1 range. And they'll have enough attack to do something, especially to the mages that are across there, or be able to chip off the enemies that are from a distance that they have to kind of go around, that you can't just run into, that you have to take a couple of turns to go across. This guy can shoot across a river and be fine. Or assist in a choke point. That's where I like to use them, and I think that's where their usefulness comes in. You just have to know how to use them. And they're pretty friendly to use for everybody. Alright, so I'm just going to move forward in here. And don't worry, I did not forget about the hidden, quote-unquote, hidden character that's in the other direction here. I'll run away with Max when applicable. See these guys going through. And I'll also talk about the monsters really quick after I come back. Max, do you really want to leave from this battle? Yes, I do. So we want to visit this little house over here. For this little house, we have our first meeting of Yogurt. I am not using Yogurt. I don't care what you say, I know everybody loves it. He is the mascot character of this game, he does nothing. I will explain it when I get him, but I will not use him in my party. Greetings, Max, I am waiting for you. And then he says nothing. We'll get into Yogurt once we recruit him. And then meet one of my favorite characters. I am Gong. I have fought the evil of Rudvoss for many years. I will aid you. And that's it. That's all you get from him. And I'm assuming that's him talking, even though it only shows just the blue text. I will join your troops. That was kind of one of those edits they kind of miss. It's supposed to have the portraits every single time they talk. And they've got a little priest here. Well, what a surprise. Rarely do we have guests in such a remote area. I am a friar, though I may not look it. How may I help you? And you can go through and save. Which we will. Now, for Shining Force 1, I really like this game. It is, again, it's not my favorite Shining Force game, but it is pretty good. I enjoy it. Oh, I can't read that. I enjoy it. There are some problems that I have. I miss the creature comfort functions, such as trading around weapons and pressing C to just activate something that you have in Shining Force 2. Plus, it's a little bit slower of play. The cursor moves a little bit slower, and that reminds me I've got to do something here. Increase the speed. There we go. Then, yeah, we'll keep the battle messages on. I like having it on. So you get that. Plays a little bit quicker for Shining Force 2. And again, you kind of miss out on the randomness, which you can love or hate. I think that's one of the things that keeps bringing me back for Shining Force 1 is that it is random. So you don't know what you're getting each time, which is important to me. Because I like having things, I like being able to see a character become better sometimes than other ones, make one more useful than the other times. You know, you're working on a character and, you know what, he's not turning out well. Well, now you have to go against your plans, or not. Maybe you have to deal with that weak character. But you go against your plans and have to try out somebody new, which is always good. Again, all characters are useful and can be used. There is specifically one, and we will talk about him. And I think everybody knows which one I'm going to be talking about. There is one that will be rated pretty badly, pretty poorly, because of of how he is. And you'll see. It's not for a long time, though. We'll get to it. And there we go. There's your magic. At this point in time, that Blaze 1 is on par with everybody else's damage, so it doesn't seem any more or less powerful. But you'll see, magic is very powerful in this game. And we'll see Gong. Oh, I didn't even rate Gong. Let's go into him. Alright, so Gong. He is an interesting character. He is, I think we're categorizing him as a miscellaneous healer. He's kind of an anomaly. He doesn't have any weapons. He attacks unarmed. So we'll actually go into this discussion. There are armed characters, those that use weapons, and there are unarmed ones that don't. I didn't notice that he twitched in his portraits. That's awesome. So unarmed characters, they have much higher attack growth, and they have nothing else to boost it. So that can be good or bad. Most cases, it's fairly good. Again, most of the time, still useful. He also is a healer. So he isn't as good of a healer as all the other healers are, but he also isn't as good of a fighter as all your other fighters are. He's kind of a mix. I find him that his attack ends up being okay enough to deal a good amount of damage. Sometimes he's a powerhouse based on random level ups, but most of the time he's okay. And for his MP and everything, he's an okay healer. He's kind of a backup healer and a kind of an assisting person for damage. So he is very useful. Unfortunately, he has the movement stat of all your healers, a 5, but he's still fairly useful. And you'll see, even though his defense doesn't show it now, later on his defense will be good, and his HP will be good. So he's actually a more tanky healer if you want to use him like that. In fact, I usually use him instead of Low for all of my healing. I won't do that in this case. I'll use Low since I have him, but he's actually but Gong is very good, and I like to use him replace. Plus, he actually learns Aura. It's only the first level, but even the first level is good. Being able to heal up to 5 characters, even the basic amount, is awesome. And allows Gong to, or all of your other healers with Aura, to level up quicker. But we're going to go through and see him in action. I didn't mention all the promotions for everybody, but we'll get to them, and I'll promote everybody that I can. If I have to trade out somebody and they're not promotable, then oh well. But most of the time, I should at least be able to get to level 10 before each person's last battle. You do get a lot of characters, but it is rare. I don't think we do get some that we probably won't switch out. Or will switch out before I promote them. Anyways, let's get back over to the game. Sorry, pause there. I'm just really excited to go through and record this. Shining Force series is one of my favorite series. Actually, I think it is my favorite series. Ooh! A double attack. By the way, you do have to calculate your own attack versus defense and other factors like land effect. What you're going to see here is... no, it's not going to show me there. But as you walk through, you're going to see in the top left, your land effect go up by percentage. That land effect percentage increases your defense by that amount. Very useful. So your high defense characters gain even more defense in those areas than your low defense characters. Although it's useful for your low defense characters as well. Han's the kill. There we go. Ooh! And as you heard, you can hear when you get a critical, it'll be deadly attack on ours, and it'll be stunning attack on the other side. There's a random chance, and I forget what the percentage chance is, but there's a random chance you get a double attack, and there's a random chance of getting a critical. And then some enemies, their special attacks take over 4 criticals. Those will be your status effect ones, like if an attack were to poison or to put somebody to sleep. Which they do have, and the Goblin not doing much damage. These enemies, oh, see, there's almost the double turn right there. These enemies are fairly weak, as you can see. They don't do too much damage. Their defense is okay, so you're not just outright killing them. Dwarves are a lot nastier, especially for level 1 characters. So you gotta watch out for them. They don't move very far, though. And then, right now, these Rune Knights are pretty nasty. They're more likely to kill your guys in one hit than anybody else. So you just have to stay away. He'll charge up once you get close enough, but you can pretty much kind of hold back and kill off the enemies before he does so. I just forget where that line is, but we'll find out. And see, Hans does good now. And you'll see him do good in a little bit, and then he's just going to peter off, because he won't get a weapon for a long time, too. And I don't have my healer next to the guy that actually got hit. Okay, so he's still not going through. Now, Hans will take a huge hit to the face here. Only doing 6, though. It's not too bad. Now, I really do like the art style for combat. I think especially for the Sega Genesis, they did a brilliant job with that combat detail. Just look at this. It looks awesome. They get the background of where you're fighting. They get a ton of different things set up for it. It's great. The sprites on the overland or the overhead here are not as good, but they're passable. Go. Now we got to get some healing. You can't turn animations off. That is another thing that they have in Fire Emblem that you don't have over here. But that's okay. I think there's gonna be a lot that I'm gonna be comparing other games like it. Unfortunately, I haven't played other things like Ogre Tactics, which I do plan on playing later on. But Ogre Tactics and I forget what the other ones may be called. Excuse my ignorance on that end. But I'll be comparing, especially to Fire Emblem, a lot, because it is in the same genre, and although they're not current competitors for their games, because Shining Force is old and doesn't have any new ones really coming out. Although there's rumors of it apparently, which would be freaking awesome if they came out with Shining Force 4. It is still a close competitor and something you can compare it to. But a lot of times I'll be comparing to the games that I have played for Fire Emblem as well. So I've typically played the GBA games, not played any other ones, although I have watched a lot of the other ones. So I do have at least a little bit of knowledge of it. And there we go, it's a nice first level. And first level 3 MP, which is exactly what I want from Teo. Keep getting more MP. As you can see, this first battle is not that hard. Really, it's just that Root Knight. Now, one thing in this game, if you haven't played it before, is it's got permadeath. Or not permadeath, it doesn't have permadeath, what am I talking about? So, what that means is if your characters die, you don't permanently lose them. You can go through and pay money. It's their level times 10, and if they're promoted, it's as if they were promoted at level 10. But their level times 10, that much gold in order to revive them. As you see, I don't have too much gold, so I have to be very careful. I don't think I've ever gotten to a situation where I couldn't revive somebody, but I can see if you're struggling to play, you doing that. And he gains 1 speed. That is fantastic. Alright, I guess we go through and battle. I'm going to prevent this guy from going over to my leader, because he will kill him. I don't think I'm one hit, but there we go. There's a Renite. Look at that. Looks awesome. But, again, I will be comparing it to Fire Emblem, just from what I've played, and then other games that I play, tactics-based. Kind of things that I wish it had, things that would be cool, or, things that it has that I wish the other games did. In this case, I really like centaurs. I love the idea of the centaur. They're pretty cool to have kind of as an interesting set of characters, instead of having somebody on horseback. In fact, there's no horses, I think. Pretty sure there's no horses. But they're a cool concept to have in a game like this. Yeah, I'll move Ken over to here. I think Ken will get the kill. I think this is the easiest time I've had in this first battle. Usually I have some sort of, people are, somebody gets double turned and killed. But I guess I'm having a little bit of luck, which means I'll get crushed later. And that also means I get less experience on some guys. Usually I'll use this battle to level up a couple of levels to make some of the other parts easier, but this is okay. Fools! You have one here, but Lord Cain of Runefoss is even now attacking Gardenia. And more earthquakes. If that creature spoke truly, we must return to help defend Gardenia. I think I missed a word in there. Oh, but that's the first battle. And we'll just go down. And we run into our second one. The earthquake blocked the road. Head north, but be ready for battle. No one enters Gardenia while we live. For Dark Soul! Death to Gardenia! Death to Gardenia! Yep. So you get this, and this is where you get introduced to your terrain. Obviously, Shining Force 1, there's no real tutorials. These maps, I wouldn't even call them tutorial battles. They just really have whatever's there. It's like, hey, learn how to control your guys. Okay. Hey, guess what? Your guys move less over here. And you go, cool. This is the best part about Hans. You get to go kind of follow these guys. They're going to actually retreat Well, but he can keep attacking them and weakening them as they retreat. One of the things that I don't like about the Shining Force series is, at least in this case, I can't choose where my guys are. And see, Ken gets affected, so he's only moving 2 through this terrain, just like everybody else. So we're gonna get jam-packed in there. But in either case, where I was talking to before, you can't choose where your guys are positioned. It is all based on the order they are in your team, and you can't change that until you get enough people. We're gonna move out here so that way Max can move forward. But in either case, it kind of sucks that your guys are arranged a specific way, and you would not put yourself that way. I would have Hans at the edge like he was, but maybe I would have my healers in the back, so my main guys can be a little bit ahead and get to these guys instead of my healer being ahead of my main hero, that type of thing. So I don't like that about this series, and it's a consistent thing that I've seen, at least with Shining Force 1 and 2. Man, I hate this choke point right here. And I wish they would have, they didn't do it. But obviously, this is from 1993. They're not going to change it. Let's see here. Did he even gain much experience? Oh, he's close to leveling. Another feature, it's a difference between Shining Force 1 and 2, is how you level up, right? So when you level up, it's when you reach 100 experience, and you'll go back down to 0 in this game, which obviously is not good. Actually, I'm going to move here and shoot that goblin. I want to weaken these guys for all my level 1s to level up. There we go. But it resets to 0, so you have to gain that 100 again. You could be at 99 and gain 48 experience, and it'll still show 0. In Shining Force 2, they did change it to where that experience carried over, so you never lost out on anything. So it's kind of annoying in here. Again, there's some creature comfort things that I think that's the reason why I like Shining Force 2 better, along with a couple of other things. But this is still good. It's okay. It's just something you have to know and kind of use that knowledge to your own advantage in order to get your most bang out of your buck for these battles. Because sometimes you want to go through and level somebody up, but you're like, well, if they only need 6 experience, let me get a hit rather than trying to get a kill. Save that kill for somebody that's at the lower experience end. So you've got to just use all the knowledge in here for it. Also, a major difference between this and some of the other games that you play, like Fire Emblem, is, as you can see, there's no return attack. Which you can like or dislike. It doesn't really matter. But there's no return attack, so your enemy phase is all your enemy doing damage. So you have to play this differently according to that. In this type of game, you are trying to protect your guys as much as possible. You're trying to lure out as few enemies as possible, and you're not counting on killing any enemies in the enemy phase. You don't even have counters in this game. In Shining Force 2, you do. I'm pretty sure in Shining Force 1 you don't, or either that or it's extremely rare. Like, you never see it, you don't really count on it, because it's just never going to happen. Even in Shining Force 2, where you do have it, and you can get an item to increase your chances called the Critical Sword. Those chances are like, move to, maybe an eighth of the time that you'll counter and you'll do half damage. Yeah, that's a great game. Thanks. Max will end up getting the kill on this one. He just needed to get the level up. Attack increase 1, defense 1, speed 1. Max is very consistent in his level ups. Sometimes he'll get some crappy ones, but most of the time he's very consistent in gaining 1 or 2 points in things here and there, which is not a bad thing. It means it just grows gradually. Sometimes you want those spikes, but not all the time. Especially when that spike is, hey, you get like 7 agility. Now, one thing that I know that other people, when they play Fire Emblem and everything else, they talk a lot about how the map design is and everything. I know that these first 2 maps are designed to kind of teach you about the basics of the... Oh, wow, that was a bad level up for Ken. Oh. Oh, that's not good. Oh, no. So Ken, on average, is supposed to gain, like I said, on average, 2.9 hit points in his first level. And that's one of his biggest strengths, is his HP. So since he didn't gain that much HP, I'm going to be struggling with him, I think, unless he makes it up for later levels. Oh, that's not good. Oh, no. Well, let's weaken this goblin. But we talk about map design a lot. These first 2 maps are supposed to teach you about, the rules of the game. So this one's specifically about terrain. That doesn't mean that it's, and it does a good job in the beginning because it forces you into terrain to show you, hey, terrain is bad. It's going to suck walking through. You're going to have to deal with that. But they also make it a very long and winding map that it just doesn't need to be. Because you've got this cluster of enemies here. You're all going to fight them right here. There's no getting around it. And then you have to walk all the way down here and walk all the way over here to face these guys. Because these guys will move down here and they'll kind of be a trio right here and kind of be around a choke point and won't even move to attack you even if you're here. You have to move forward to go get them unless you're attacking with ranged stuff, which we will be doing. But you have this long period of walking through here. I think that's meant to, for the less experienced players to just, have some time to heal, because this is a big battle right here. You probably have some guys that are injured, especially if you don't level up. But I think that even just like one turn of walking, you can get the healing that you need, especially if you have Gong. You have Low and Gong there. It's 2 healers. It's not that bad. You can get your frontline guys healed up, and then there, you'd be at the next set. Also, another thing, they're going to go after Max whenever they can, or a guy that they can kill. That's how the AI is set up, so you have to be very careful with that. And again, just know it. Know that your guys are going to go through, and I think I'll just attack this guy. Nope. No. Oh no, he's the one that I had to. That's right. So just know that they're going to go after your leader. Yeah. Those terrain bonuses actually, hinder the attack process a ton. We'll move Low over here. He can tank a hit, so he can get some experience. Your healers gain levels consistently because they're constantly healing guys, but especially in the beginning here, it's very slow. Alright, he can go through and weaken that one. But the map design in this game can really fluctuate. Sometimes it's really good and you have an awesome battle and it goes fairly quickly at a good pace, and other times it's like, why do I have to walk so far to get to the enemy? It makes no sense. So it's kind of hit or miss in here. I think some Fire Emblem guys will be able to agree when you have to take multiple turns to get somewhere. It just sucks. I think I'm just gonna use Max to weaken down some guys. That way the rest of my guys can just power through. He's doing fine. Ooh, I got to move with him. Alright. Did Hans need any healing? Nope. Nope. Okay. Well, you know what he can do? He can go through and weaken. And even if he doesn't weaken and actually kills, he'll at least get some experience. That's just one. There we go. Yeah, the AI is sometimes weird. It's scripted to do different things, to hold off until certain conditions and everything like that, or just not move, or only move to here. So it's very weird. That's just something you're gonna have to, again, you're gonna have to work with. Let's see here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think Luke can get over there. Hopefully he can. I didn't want to give a or more experience to Ken yet, because I need Luke to get a level, but it's fine. Gong, though, we're going to move up that. So we open up some space for other people. And it's sometimes having these clusters is a little bit awkward, weird, hard to get the people where you want to get to, especially with the terrain there. So sometimes this is also a mess too. So really this game, there's probably actually very few times where the map design is very good. More likely than not, it's pretty bad. But it's still fun for me. I know a lot of other people, they really enjoy this series, and this game in particular. They really enjoy kind of the randomness. Ooh, nice double attack, Luke. And, you know, they've been going through leveling up their guys and kind of having different stories with different sets of characters. Because there are a ton of characters in this game. And you're going to see, we're going to be cycling through a bunch of them. We're going to be using guys that we really love and have to say goodbye to them. And it's just going to keep happening until we get to our end set, which I can't remember which they are. And yes, the end set is actually fairly powerful in this game. Unlike Shining Force 2, who, depending on when you promote people, the last guys that you get really aren't too good. They're just kind of bonus guys that are okay. In this game, they really make up for it if you end up having some bad characters. Do I want Teo to get that? Well, she can get somebody. I'm fine with her getting one of these kills. Oh, it only has 1 HP left? That's gonna be a whack. There we go. But you're gonna see, we're gonna get some pretty powerful characters, which are okay. I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't typically use them, to be honest. I prefer not to. I prefer to have a little bit of a challenge with it. But, oh, you know, I thought he wasn't gonna get that, but that's okay. And he's level 3. Again, archers are useful. They're useful right now. You're gonna see that he's not gonna be useful later on, but it's okay. They're meant to be like that. Okay, here we go. We'll let him get the kill on the goblin. There we go. Should be a level. Yep. Attack increased by 1. Magic increased by 1. Okay. I really expect his defense to go up. But again, all of it is random. Nope. Man. That 5 movement of these healers really gets these guys when it comes to terrain. It sucks moving your healers around. Low gets left behind a lot. A lot. Your healers in general do, but he specifically does. Especially since I just don't like him. I think I was using him for a long time in my first playthrough of it. And then I didn't really like Chris, the next healer that you get. The same thing with Tarasu, and then I come to find out that they're so much better. So much better. It is ridiculous. I keep here so Low can kill him. Or Gong can. I probably wanted Gong to get the kill, but that's okay. I think I only need a couple more experience to get a level. But the other ones are so much better. You should just throw Low away. Like, even if you're just gonna, have one healer, have Gong. Have Gong. He does so much better. Low just has a high amount of MP. And that's it. He does no other good for you. There we go. See, this side, especially after you level up, it's not bad. Generally you're gonna do a good amount. Let's see here. Yeah, Gong just needs another heal. Low? So if he's at 1, you know what? I'm gonna leave room for Low to get that. I'm gonna move Teo. If I can. Actually, I'll move Hans here. Move Hans. So that way he can heal Luke. Get him the experience. Don't double attack. There we go. That's some of the randomness you have to watch out for. There. Stay. I'm gonna keep Teo right there. I'm gonna have Low try to get the kill on here. You won't level up from it, because I don't think anything ever gives 50 experience in this one. At most is like 48. There we go. But now he's 2 experience away. He can heal somebody, and he'll be fine. Gaining a level, finally. And I'll give Gong this level. So, I am limited on my MP, but I do have, that's the reason why I have medical herbs. Oh, 15, there we go. Attack increase by 1, defense by 1, speed by 1. That's an okay level up for him. It's okay. I do enjoy the attack up on him. But I really want his MP to go up a little bit more, or his attack to go up a lot. But again, his attack growth is going to be better than anybody else's in the group right now, because he needs to make up for it, since he doesn't have a weapon. Okay, and here's the long spiel, or part right here. As you can see, even playing just the one, or this one run through, I've got nobody really hurt or anything, and I'm able to just charge on through. Yep. Just moving. In any case, I can use this time to go through and talk a little bit more about the game. For these characters, all you guys, if you're familiar with any Fire Emblem game, or really any of these RPG styles, you can go through and get your characters promoted. You can promote your characters at level 10, and then all the way up to level 20. Their experience gain gets severely hindered all the way up to 20, is because it was as if they were already promoted at that level minus 10. So if they're level 20, or if they're level 19, they're like a promoted level 9 character. So they're really gaining a lot less experience. Now, when you promote, you gain, you end up gaining a lot of experience, is what it seems like, in comparison as if you didn't promote. And that's just from their calculus. You know, if you have a level 15 character and you promote, you will end up getting more experience than you were previously, because you are acting like a level 11 in there. It's a little weird, but it's still good. And the guys in Fire Emblem, they will be seeing that too. They have the same type of issues when it comes to going through and promoting and leveling up. But once you do so, this game is weird. In a game like Fire Emblem, you gain a bunch of stats from promoting. In this game, you lose stats. It doesn't make any sense, but you actually lose stats in Shining Force 1. Shining Force 2, that is not the case. Shining Force 1, you are losing stats for promoting. Kind of discourages it, really. Which I don't know if that was their intent or not. Giffon's a nice long-range kill. You see, these guys don't move, so they're kind of just sitting ducks. Hans might get another level up, depending on what he does. I have a couple of blazes here. She'll be able to get rid of them, of the Runite. Interesting. But in either case, yeah, they lose a bunch of stats. And it's based, and their stats are set based on the level that you promote at. So the higher level that you promote, the better stats that you have to start off as for your level 1 promoted. The bonus that you get for it, and it usually makes up for the loss of stats, but that means you can actually have promoted weapons, and you can get up to an unlimited level, I think. It's like level 99 or level, I can't remember if it was level 40 or level 99. You'll never reach those, pretty much. Unless you really are trying. The question comes up of why are you trying? Because you'll never need it. You'll never need it. But you kind of unlock that limited growth for your levels. And you get those promoted weapons, which are ridiculous. In fact, usually when you're able to get the promoted weapons, you end up getting so much more damage from it. And the damage makes up. Your guys are just less survivable than they were. Which is interesting. It's an interesting concept. Kind of like, hey, I'm giving you, like, you're learning new abilities, so you're kind of crappy at it at that point in time. I don't know why that would make you less survivable, but, you know, it's how the game goes. So people argue what level you need that you should promote at, and you know, if everybody argues over it, a lot of people talk about, hey, you know, all you need is level 10, which is true. You can promote a level 10 and be perfectly fine in this game. Others go, hey, no, we want to promote a level 20 because then you know, it's a challenge, because it is. There we go. Now the guy finally moved. It's a challenge to get them up to level 20 and then promote them, because your guys start off, you know, they're having a harder time gaining experience and actually being able to do something, because they're not able to wield the better weapons and everything else. So it actually has a major hindrance on it. There we go. Defense, speed, another 3 MP. That's a good level up, Teo. What was I going on about? I don't even know anymore. Oh, promotions. Yeah, so there's big arguments on it, and it is a challenge to get them. And he moves back. I'm just gonna run at him. In my opinion, I like promoting them at level 20. There's a challenge getting guys up there, up to that level, especially with those newer. Like, the game is meant to be able to promote, you know, between 10 and 20. So you get these new items that be doing more damage, and you're not even able to use them anymore. I don't want to get that kill him. Give that to Max. Which kind of sucks. But it is a challenge to kind of get it up there, and it does require a little bit of grinding. You can't just play every map one time. To get there in a decent amount of time, you're going to struggle, because you also spike in stats a lot. Anyways, you made it back. You're a little late. We were almost overrun by Runefaust. We held them off, but we've suffered greatly, as you'll see as you wander around. Most of our knights were lost in the battle. Many homes were damaged, but we held. We'll keep the watch here. Runefaust is bound to attack again, sooner or later. And you get the sad music. I love the music for Shining Force 1. Unfortunately, some of it is a little bit repetitive, especially the first battle music. It kind of is a little basic. I do enjoy the Shining Force 2 mix-up to it and how long their tunes go. It's instead of like looping the same 30 seconds or a minute, they're like looping every 2 minutes, which, you know, they add a lot of variety in the music. But this music is actually still pretty good, and I would say that you need to listen to the orchestrated versions of this, because it's beautiful. But in either case here, but like I said, I like promoting a level 20, and there may be a little bit of grinding I may do off screen, just to get to that, just to do that part. But we'll see. There's a specific character that I'll end up having to do that for, and there's going to probably be a montage of that one. That one's going to be really rough, but we'll do it. And here's the old man. You know, that little fracas made me want to fight again. Max, I'm joining up. And what's great is the attention to detail for the music that they use is great. They changed the joining music with the sad times. I'll be at headquarters. Which I really, really do like. They do little things like that you wouldn't expect out of this game. It was an early Sega game. You'll see in Shining Force 2, still the Sega Genesis that I was able to play it on, and it has massive improvements on it. For at least the overland art style, you get some of this. You can tell that they're tired. All the soldiers are. We won this time, but what about the next attack? They're tired and just kind of resting there. But they do major improvements on how the music goes and how it looks in the overland map and how long everything else is, and how the music does sound. You know, and it's 2 years later that they made that game. So there's a lot of advancements for it, but it didn't change the console. They were just able to tap into it more, and you can see the major progress. Anyways, we're going to stop here. I think this is a good stopping point for us. We've been going on for quite a bit for our first part with character analysis and everything. There shouldn't be another one that's that long. I apologize, since we had a ton of characters to introduce right in the beginning, the analysis for it. But I hope you enjoyed this. Go ahead and give me a like and comment in the comments below and tell me how I did, what you'd like to see improved and whatnot. I think I'm going to be continuing at about this pace. I'm going to be trying to complete every battle in the first run up until I kind of need people to grind to catch up. And you'll see what I'm talking about later. There are certain characters that you're going to need to do that in order for them to be used, especially since I'm replacing my oldest characters with the newest ones. Anyways, my name's Magnus, and thank you for watching. And this is my favorite part. Yes, you should rest before continuing. Remember, a tired warrior is a dead one. It's always a good one. Alright, it's Magnus signing out.